this on? All right. Selena Gomez, Will Ferrell, Reese Witherspoon, Jeff Bridges. Not typical names you hear at a tech conference. And no, they are not here. But the man who's coming up next was their vocal coach. Roger Love has worked with many, many renowned celebrities. He's recognized as the world's leader of voice. He even taught Bradley Cooper how to sing for A Star is Born. And he promised me he is as darling as we all think he is. He is the president of Voiceplace, an interactive media company that specializes in voice-related content for educational and entertainment purposes. Please welcome Roger Love, but first via this video.
Hello. Yeah, I would have edited Joaquin's acceptance speech slightly. Didn't Jefferson say that I apologize for the length of my letter, but I didn't have time to make it shorter? I'm Roger Love, voice coach. Do not be afraid because you see the keyboard over there. You don't have to be scared. I am happy to be here. Thank you so much for coming. What an honor. Thank you, Jamie, for having me. Today I'm going to share some of my insights and beliefs into why voice is the greatest communication, influence, and innovation tool that you have. I used to believe that my purpose in life was to help make great voices, but I've sort of gotten past that over the years, and I realized that my purpose is to use voice to make great people. For the first 17 years, I only taught singers. When I was 16 and a half years old, I was already the voice coach for the Beach Boys and Earth, Wind and Fire and Stevie Wonder and all kinds of groups like that. So I cut my teeth for 17 years on the singing voice. And I got pretty good at helping singers open up their mouths and figure out what sounds they should make to influence millions of people. So for 17 years, I said no to any speaker that would come to me. But 17 years later, people like Tony Robbins and Susie Orman and Tyra Banks, they started coming to me and they said, well, we want to work with you too. We've heard that you can do a little bit of magic and we're having problems with our voice or we want to get better. And I would turn all of them away. I'd say, you're so nice. You have nice hair. You're so tall. And I would say no. And I'd send them away because I considered myself only a singing voice coach. And then they kept coming back to me. And I realized that these people were influencing millions of people with their voice. So I set out with the idea that if I could do what I did for singers, create influential, emotional voices that moved people to action, why couldn't I do the same thing for speakers? And that turn of events and my decision to follow the speaking voice has changed my life, and it's been incredibly rewarding because I can do the same thing for speakers. The problem is people think that they are the voice that they were born with, and it's not true. You are the instrument you were born with, and you basically learned the sounds that you make from imitating the sounds that were attached to the words that your mother and father or nanny or caregiver used. So if your mother spoke very, very airy, and she said, Roger, you're so cute, eat, eat, eat. And then as soon as I could speak, I was like, milk, mama. I would speak airy because I was trying to build a connection. And sound was a part of that connection. And if my father spoke like this, let's go fishing, and I wanted to be carried everywhere and not have my feet touch the ground, then as soon as I could make sound, I would speak to my father with the same sounds. Up, now. So we learn the sounds that we are around. And then suddenly we're adults, and we think that's our nasal voice, that's our breathy voice. We sound like an introvert because we are an introvert. We have these sounds that are attached to our personalities. But as soon as you open your mouth, people are judging you based on those sounds. How many people in this room, and let's be honest, absolutely love the sound of their voice on their voicemail greeting? Come on. No, not one hand. Then you're absolutely, I know you're above normal, but in this one respect, you are totally normal. Because people don't even know what they sound like. So I help people decide when they meet me that it's time to listen to the sounds that they're making, figure out what sounds are working for them in all aspects of their life, in their personal life, in their business life, in the sounds that they're making that make them feel less self-confident in how they talk to themselves. And that change has led me to what my new goal in life. It's just a simple one. I have to change the world. And I can only do it one voice at a time. So each one of you today are my one voice at a time to change the world. Are you okay? You're alive? You're breathing? Make some sound. It's all about sound, okay? I realized early on that there was no difference between singing and speaking, and nobody else had ever been talking about that. Because I figured there was a huge difference between singing and speaking, but there isn't. The components that make up singing, pitch, pace, tone, melody, volume, they all exist in speaking. It's just people aren't utilizing them in the same way. So I figured I'd put the musicality back into people's voices. Why do that? Why change your voice? Because most people are trapped behind voices that don't even begin to showcase how special they are, how smart they are, how much they care. They're not showcasing their core values. We talked, the panel before us were how important core values are. I remember when I went into the company Zappos, and they were one of the leaders in core values. And I said, okay, that's great. You have 3,000 employees, all talking on the phone, all dealing with the public, and you have all these core values. But everyone in your company pretty much sounds the same. So when I speak to somebody in your company, do they sound like your core values? Are the sounds that they're making showcasing your core values to the public? And the answer was no. So I taught all of the employees at Zappos the sounds of their core values. You get it? The sounds we make, whether we like it or not, make people perceive certain things. And here's, again, why this is so important. The way that the brain works is it processes information for sound first and then logic. So when I'm speaking to someone, the first part of the brain that my sound goes into is called the amygdala. And the language of the amygdala is sounds, not words. The amygdala only cares about emotional things. So if I say, I want you to meet my brother, he's fine, then the amygdala says, what? Did you say you had a brother? A monkey? What? That doesn't process it. But if I say, I want you to meet my brother, he is fine, then the amygdala passes that information, because it's emotional, to the prefrontal cortex. And the prefrontal cortex is where you want all of your communication to go, whether you're speaking to someone and you want to have a relationship with them, or whether you're pitching to them, or whether you're running a company. Why? Because in the prefrontal cortex, it processes all of that emotion, first as emotion, and then logically. And that's the only way to get people to remember what you say, or care about what you say, or act upon what you say. Do you get it? If you're not getting to that part of the brain, it's not being processed. You want them to act on the communication that you're having with them. You have an outcome. But if they don't remember it, if they don't feel anything, you've all heard that expression. People will never remember the things that you say to them, but they will remember the way you made them feel. And so literally, I've spent the last 25 years figuring out exactly what sounds we need to make so that they feel the things that you want them to feel. The world is being led now by great storytellers. Being a great storyteller does not mean you speak word by word. You speak emotion by emotion. And you lead people from emotion to the next emotion, to the next emotion, and then you lead them to action. Do you understand what I'm saying? I also think that voice is the new key to saving humanity. Another big phrase, billboard. Why in the world would you say that, Roger? Well, we are certainly at a place now where the AI world, especially any AI that has communication, speaking bots, we're teaching them with the sounds that we make. But we've become a world of non-emotional speakers. and we don't have any, we talk like this, like we're on the Kardashian TV show, and it's okay to speak like this with no melody, no volume. It's like we're using our inside voice. This is the voice that's supposed to wake me up in the morning that says, get up and go to the gym. But all of a sudden, my mouth is open, and I'm talking to you guys as if I was talking to myself. So we've taken all of the emotion out of the way that we speak. I'm standing in line at the dry cleaners, and I hear two people talking in front of me, and this is their emotional conversation. How you doing? Good. How's your family? Still alive. You? Breathing. And I'm thinking, this is what it is? So we've taken all the emotion out of the way that most people speak. And what are we teaching to AI? Unemotional communication. And we're wasting our time trying to do face recognition, and then they learn that face recognition lies. And we wasted our time on words, but then we learned that people got really good at using words and lying. So the only true, authentic way to communicate and understand how somebody really feels is by the sounds that they make. I think I'm in the place right now, I know I'm in the place right now, and we all need to start speaking emotionally so that we train AI to speak emotionally. And the emotional conversation, feeling things when we speak, is what I believe is the only thing that really makes us human, or a major thing that makes us human. So not only are we teaching AI bias all over the place in what we're teaching them, and we're seeing all of that evidence come up now, that in recruiting, all of a sudden, what was the latest article? Bias. Oh, this was against this bias, and this had this bias. So we're teaching them bias, and we're teaching them unhuman communication. Interesting, right? You still alive? You're one of the quietest audiences I've ever seen and heard. We've basically managed to take all of the emotion out of business communication. It's charts and PowerPoints. People say to me, do you use PowerPoints? I say, I'm the power, and I'll make the point. Do I really want to spend all of my time trying to convince people and influence them and create a relationship, 1-on-1, 1-on-300, and then say this, look at the monkey. Look at the monkey. The monkey's cuter than me. Look at the little kids playing with the balloon. Oh, and then, okay, don't look at the monkey. Now, please look at me. So we've turned everything into charts and graphs, totally unemotional. And also, businesses. What was the way that they would do team building? Fear-based. You'd go and you'd climb up a long pole and you'd go across ropes and you're tethered, but you don't know you're tethered because you can't really see it and you don't feel all that safe. And the only way you're going to survive, because you're afraid, is by counting on the other team members. Right? Anybody do ropes courses? Okay? Fear-based. And so what happens is that I believe that all needs to change now. It has to be emotion-based communication in business. Companies lure prospects by saying, here's our core values. We're saving the world. And so these young people haven't figured out their core values yet. So they're very much attracted to big companies or small companies that seem to be able to project their core values. And they say, well, I have a lot of ideas. I want to change the world. And then they join those companies and find that they don't have a voice because the companies are really not set up that each person finds their voice and is able to share their voice, because companies were worried that if everybody had a voice, no one would agree. But I've trained some of the greatest choirs in the world, and you know how I do it? I make every single person sound like they're the soloist. I create a voice for every single person, and then they all sing together, and you have a whole choir of soloists, and it works perfectly. Voice coaching for business is not, voice coaching for speakers and business is a business investment. There was a study in Inc. magazine through the Holmes Report that took hundreds of companies that had over 1,000 employees, and they tried to figure out what was the loss from poor communication. What were the costs? What was it costing them to have poor communication? And they found that it was on average $64 million a year in productivity loss because of poor communication. Isn't that interesting? $64 million a year. And the same study showed that when a company had one, even one leader who was a good communicator, who communicated emotionally, that company had a 47% increase in return on investment in a 5-year period. It's time that we all stopped speaking like charts and we learned to speak like the humans that we are to move people. Being a master communicator is having the ability to do 3 things. 1, control the way that other people perceive you. But nobody's thinking about that because you can't do it with the words, as I explained. Words lie. You have to do it with sound. So if you're a master communicator, if you're an influencer, if you're a leader, you need to be able to open up your mouth and speak and have people perceive you the way you want to be perceived, or you're not going to get funded, you're not going to get kissed, no one's going to marry you, you're not going to feel good about yourself. That's the first thing. Second thing is, you need to be able to move people emotionally, which is what we've been talking about so far, from emotion to emotion. The third thing is you have to be able to predetermine the outcome of that communication, which means you're moving them from emotion to emotion, you're controlling their perception of you and what's important to you, and where does it lead? To where you wanted the end of that communication to lead, where they felt, they heard your voice, they felt your authenticity, they believed what you had to say and your passions, and that you gave them the same opportunity to showcase what they felt, their passions, their core values. It was a real emotional, open exchange where everyone was authentic. Then it's not some mind warp hypnosis to control the outcome of the communications. It's so simple. And one of the outcomes of the communications really is what I said, to make sure that you shared your real voice and that they shared their real voice and you got to the end of the communication. So, why are people so afraid of speaking in public still? Why is it still the number 1 fear in America? Canada, the people from Canada are a little, that makes a little more sense to me because their number 1 fear is heights. But in America, it's still speaking in public. Why? Because when we open our mouth to speak, we are all afraid of being rejected. All of us. And it doesn't feel good when you say, I love you. And they were like, well, nice suit, dude. How long does it take people to make value judgments about you when you speak to them? Science says now it's about 3 seconds. So you open your mouth, you got 3 seconds for them to decide whether they like you, whether they trust you, whether they believe you, and whether they want you to say anything else. 3 seconds. Not an hour, not 15 PowerPoint slides, 3 seconds. That's crazy. It shouldn't be that way, but it is. And in those 3 seconds, you know what people do? As soon as I start to speak, they start asking themselves questions about me. They're like, oh, I wonder how old he is. I wonder what school he went to. Is he married? I'm married. Does he have any kids? How many kids does he have? Does he have any money in offshore accounts? How much money? Why is he here today? Is he selling something? No, not selling anything. I'm the gift today. I have nothing to sell. I'm offering. I'm giving. 3 seconds. That's all it is. Okay, so let me now work on your voices to show you how easy it is to add those things that I'm talking about into the way that you're communicating right now. You do not have to be a singer. You don't have to be a musician. You don't have to play an instrument. You don't have to listen to music. We can all do it. It's super, super simple. Are you in? Okay, so first thing is, let's learn how to breathe. In just a few minutes, I'm going to teach you how to breathe because the biggest part of sound, 50% of the sound that comes out of you is breath. Because when I speak, there's supposed to be enough breath that comes out of me that actually vibrates your bodies. So sound comes out. This is scientific. This isn't woo-woo. I sort of call what I do woo-do. Because it sounds like woo-woo, but I just do it. And it's all scientific, and it's all based on facts. So sound's supposed to come out of your mouth, supposed to vibrate the bodies of the people that you're speaking to, and that makes them feel things. So I say speaking is a physical connection, and you're not thinking that because most people don't even speak loud enough to get their body all the way out there, and they don't control the breath to send the right amount of air far enough away from them so that they're actually connecting with people. Everybody sit up in their chairs. Chest, look at me. Chest up, shoulders back and down. Everybody take a big breath when I count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Biggest breath of your life. Take a breath. And then down. Again, biggest breath of your life. And then down. A lot of you did this. You raised your chest and shoulders, and then you went down with your chest and shoulders. Did you notice that? A lot of you breathed in through your mouth, like that. That's called accessory breathing. That's the way to get the least amount of air into your body, and that's the way to have the least control of how air comes back out. Is this thing that says 3:29, is that my countdown for 45 minutes? Because that's wrong. Right? Yes, I like that. I like to be honest and fit into the time slot so that I'm courteous to people after me who have come to bring other gifts. Anyways, that breathing, that's the way to get the least amount of air in, and it doesn't help with the sound you're making, and that's the way most people breathe. Everybody raise your shoulders all the way up and hold it there. Come on, higher, higher. Isn't this comfortable? Don't you wish you could do this all day? Thousands and thousands of times a day? Feels bad, right? Well, that's what you're doing every time you breathe like this. Also, when you breathe through your mouth, you're drawing out your whole throat and your cords, so you're running out of breath. You're running out of speaking time because the vocal cords get dry. Everybody do this. Listen to what I'm going to do. Take a big breath into their mouth. Go. Do you feel the dryness in the back part of your throat? Now, everybody close your mouth and breathe in through your nose. Zero dryness. We were born to breathe in through our noses. Hello? All babies breathe in through their noses, not their mouths. Breathe in through your nose because there are filters in the nose called turbinates. And when you breathe in through your nose, the air that goes to the vocal cords doesn't dry them out. And you can pitch all day. You can run your companies all day. Never get hoarse. None of my students ever get hoarse. The human voice is set up to speak or sing 24 hours a day and never get hoarse, ever. It's because we're breathing into our mouths that we mess it up. So put your hand on your stomach. I'm going to take a big breath and watch what my stomach does. Comes out like a balloon, and then I'm going to blow it out. Do it with me. Take a breath. Pretend you have a balloon in your tummy. Fill up your balloon, and then blow it out. One more time. Take a breath, and blow it out. This is called breathing. Yes. Excellent. 100% answer. 99% answer. What kind of breathing? Diaphragmatic breathing. If you've ever taken a yoga class, ever gone to a good exercise trainer, they get you to do that. That's super important for speaking. Why? If you don't let your stomach come forward, the lungs don't fill with air. But more important than that, we've become a world that only speaks while their stomach is stationary. And if your stomach isn't coming out and in, it sounds like this. Weak, pinched. It's not getting as far as you want to go, like you're talking to yourself. But as soon as I bring my stomach in while I'm speaking, the sound is then forced beautifully out of my mouth, and it hits your bodies. You're only supposed to speak while your stomach is coming in. Put your hands on your tummy. Take a breath and say, I'm going to do it first. Roger wants me to speak while my stomach is coming in. Do it. Take a breath. Raj wants me to speak while my stomach is coming in. Do it again. By the way, none of you look fat this way. Take a breath. Roger wants me to speak only with my stomach coming in. Very, very important. Most of you do not do that. If you do that, suddenly you'll have the right volume. Suddenly you'll have more melody. Suddenly the tone of your voice will be more beautiful, more powerful, more resonant. Suddenly you'll be heard easier. Okay? That's the first thing. Now, okay, so when I teach people how to breathe, I actually, I'll come back to that in a second. Let me teach you two components, what I call building blocks of voice that you need to know right away. Okay, the first one is melody. You think that you don't have a melody like a song when you're speaking. So most of you speak on the same note as if you were just one note on the piano. And so I kind of speak like this all the time, and I don't even notice it because this is my safe note, and I'm talking like this. And sometimes when I get really excited, I might go, hey, and go to another note, and then I come right back to this. This is called monotone. And you're like, Roger, I don't do monotone. Never have. And then you record yourself, and you're like, 98% of every single note that you speak is the same note. But you wouldn't buy a song if it was all the same note. Johnny could only sing one note, and the note he sang was this. And then at least it goes to another note. Ah! So most people are speaking in monotone, and they're not paying attention to what the melodies are. But speaking should have melodies. Here, there are 3 choices to go in melody, 3 directions. The first one is descending, going from a high note to a lower note. And what happens when you go from a high note to a lower note? It makes people sad. And it makes people think maybe you just ran out of gas. I love my wife. It's my birthday. It's okay. I'm so excited to be here. So you don't realize it, but almost every single time you get to a comma or you get to a period, you go down because you were taught that in school. Here's my sentence, and then I get to a comma, and I go down. I go down in melody. I go down in volume. Then there's the other way called ascending melodies. Now I'm going to go up, going from a low note to a high note. It's my birthday. I love my wife. I love chocolate. When you go ascending scales, it makes people happy. That's what we learn from music. But all of you were taught to go down at commas and periods, so you're using descending scales. The only time your teachers in school said you could go up was when? When it was a question. Exclamation, not question. You love your wife? You like golf? That's it. Can you imagine telling Mozart that he had to only write, and every time before he got to a rest, he'd have to go down? Mozart would be like, no. How stupid is that? Because when you go down, you're actually losing all of the energy. Oh, wait a second, I'm not really finished. Well, there's so much more I want to talk about. Oh, please don't fall asleep just because I went like that. So you're sabotaging your own conversations. You wonder why people are butting in? Because they thought you maybe had fainted when you got to commas and periods. But that going down makes them think you're done. So then they jump in with something that they're going to say. The reason people interrupt you is because you're not going up, you're not doing the same note, you're not making them understand that if I don't go down, it's perfectly clear that I have so much more to say, and you know when not to butt in because I've used melody and now I'm done. See? You're doing interviews, you're talking to people, and you're doing descending scales, making them unhappy. Also volume. People are afraid of volume. They think that why are people afraid of volume? Because they think it's attached to what emotion? Anger. And it is. But no one sound actually makes an emotion. It's a combination of sounds. I've spent the last 25 years figuring out exactly what sounds create what perception of what emotion. So anger is the combination of more volume, absolutely monotone, because I don't have any time for melody. I'm mad. I don't have any time we're not singing here. I'm mad. Did I mention I'm mad? Monotone, volume, and you have to increase your speed because your blood is pumping and you're mad and you can't stop the pulse from racing. So increased pace, monotone, and increased volume is anger. Anger has, if volume itself isn't angry, I could be as loud as I want, but as long as I use melody, you're like, why is he so happy? He's not mad at me. I thought maybe he was shouting, but he's not shouting, he's just sharing. Do you understand? Don't be afraid of volume. So many of you are using your inside voices talking like this, and you're asking people to come into your brain and figure out how you really feel. Tell them how you really feel. Bring it out here, melody and volume. Okay, let's do a little fun exercise, which I like to do once I teach people how to breathe. I like to have them sing songs. Okay? Songs? Yeah, you know this song. Can you bring up, hold on. Oh, there we go, back. Can you bring this up on the screen? It's just a little short song. Don't leave me because I said we're going to sing a song together. Okay? Okay, sing this with me. I'll teach you the melody. It goes, you are so beautiful. Sing that with me. You are are so beautiful to me. Do that first line. You are so beautiful to me. And the second line goes this. You are so beautiful. You are so beautiful. Stand up. You know, singers do not sit. Okay? Here we go. This is 1 minute. You can live through this. There's something good at the end. You are so beautiful to me. You are so beautiful. Wait for me. There's an instrumental. To me. Then it goes like this. Can you see? Can't you see? Awesome. You're everything I hope for. Ready? You're everything I hope for. Everything I need. Everything I need. Okay, we're coming to the end. You are so beautiful to me. Now look somebody in the eyes and say, you're beautiful. Look at it. Nobody's going to sue you. Look somebody in the eyes. You're beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, take me off of the screen again. Okay, now I want to do some transformations. I've got some time right now, a few minutes. I want to listen to some voices here, and I want to tell you what people are being perceived by your voices, and I'm going to do transformations. This is the most fun part of the experience. You're leaving me again. What? Is it my breath? It's not me? Fantastic. Here we go. Transformations. Who does not like the sound of their voice? Come on up. Hello, hello. Hi, I'm Roger.
Hi, Nikki.
Come on up, Nikki. Tell them why you don't like the sound of your voice.
I don't like the sound of my vowels.
Okay, what don't you like about them?
They always feel like they're too open. I feel like I don't necessarily get well understood here in America with an Australian accent.
Awesome. You see, also, you notice the melody of people, a lot of people from Australia has a lot of going up. They're not going down. They have a lot of going up. The issue is, and I wasn't going to talk about this, but I'm just going to say it because you're here and that helps us. There's a difference between going up and there's a difference between sliding up. And in Australia, they sort of slide. Good day. And it's that slide that makes it sound a little off-putting sometimes or unused to your ears. So it isn't the going up that's bad as long as you go up. You just have to have note, 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 note. So I'm from Australia. Say that.
I'm from Australia.
Which is different than I'm from Australia. You hear the difference? So all those articles you were reading about uptalk, they weren't written by people that understood music. It's the slide that makes people sound a little bit questionable, like everything's a question. It isn't the going up to another note. Here's the thing. When you speak, because you're such a nice person, you like to smile. And a lot of us were told to smile when we speak, that people will like us. Fund my company. I'm nice. Have a relationship with me. But here's the problem. When you smile, sound comes out of the lungs, heads into the mouth, and then the teeth block the sound from getting out. So then the sound says, I can't get out that way. And then I heard that there was 2 other holes. We should go looking for that. And then the air goes looking for the other holes, and it comes out the nose. So it sounds more nasal when we talk this way. If we bring the corners of our mouth in, sound bounces into the cheeks, and it comes out beautiful and round. Your vowels are getting too open and too wide because of the position of your mouth, because you have such a beautiful smile. So Roger says I shouldn't, Roger wants me to drop my jaw when I speak. Here we go.
Roger wants me to drop my jaw when I speak.
The vowels now are so pure.
The vowels now are so pure.
So I can say A, E, I, O, U.
A, E, I, O, U.
And all the vowels sound like I'm from Europe now.
And all the vowels sound like I'm from Europe now.
You hear the difference? So the A becomes A. Ah. It changes. Roger says I should just not smile so much when I'm talking.
Roger says I should not smile so much when I'm talking.
Do you hear the difference? See how much more bassy it got? You were kind of more like push your lips out a little bit more when you're speaking. Roger says if I push my lips out,
Roger says if I push my lips out,
not only will people want to kiss me more,
not only will people want to kiss me more,
but I'll lose all that wide vowel sound.
but I will lose all that wide vowel sound.
Yes or no? Do you hear the difference? All the nasality went out. All the vowels became pure. English is a sort of a horrible language when you think about it. It's not a Romance language because English, general English, has what's called diphthongs, two vowels that keep butting up against each other. A, I, O, E. There's a lot of problems when you have those diphthongs. Italian doesn't have diphthongs. Ah, e, o, u. That's why it sounds so beautiful. I decided I would make the vowel formation of General American have more pure vowels, and that's why my speakers sound better. Way to go.
Thank you very
Thank you so much. So nice meeting you. Okay, somebody else who would like to have a little transformation now that you see it is possible to live through this transformation and sound better at the end. Okay, who else has a problem? Who has sort of a soft and airy voice or a nasal voice, or who's doing that squeaky hinge all the time? Nobody? Who are you sitting next to that has a nasal voice, uses a squeaky hinge, and you'd really like to help them because you're their best friend? Come on. Speak up. Everybody loves their voice. I noticed nobody loved their answer machine message. Okay, come on up. Hi.
Hi, I'm Jessica.
Hi, Jessica. All right.
Hi.
I love that you volunteered.
Thank
So
you.
tell me what you think about your voice. And just actually tell me where you're from and what's the most fun thing that you have planned for next week.
I'm originally from the San Fernando Valley.
Who knew?
Exactly. And I feel like sometimes I sound like a little ridiculous because of that, even though I haven't been living here for a long time. And the most fun thing I have planned next week is to finally respond to some emails
Awesome.
I've been meaning to respond to for a long time.
Awesome. So she has to fix the smiley thing too. You know when I say to smile? Smile when the other person is speaking. They like that. So here's my message. Yes, of course, please give me all the money that you have for my company. And then listen to them. They like that. They don't need you to smile while you're talking. They need you to sound smiley. They need you to sound emotional. Okay, so you same thing here with that. So I'm going to fix two things. So I'm going to do the same thing. Roger does not want me to go wide with the corners of my mouth.
Roger does not want me
Now,
to...
drop my jaw. Roger says I don't have lock jaw.
Roger says I don't have lockjaw.
Now I don't sound so young.
Now I don't sound so young.
Because that other sound like this, it sounds really young. Please, give me $100 million. I know you have it in your pocket. Give it to me. And they're like, you're not old enough. You don't know how to count to 100 million. Right? That's one thing. Also, you have a lot of that squeaky hinge in your voice, that sound I mentioned before. Some people call it a vocal fry. I call it a squeaky hinge, like a door. Get the WD-40, and it won't have to do that. So you do that a lot.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Right? So you know why that is? Because your tummy's not coming in when you speak. So take a breath and pretend there's a balloon here. Now blow. Good. Do it again. Take a breath. And blow. Slow down. We're not in a rush. They've got no place to go. This is better than lunch. Are you crazy? One more. Awesome. Now take a breath and just go, ah. Beautiful tone, right? So say, I can if I want.
I can if I want.
Not yet.
No, see? It's
I can if I want. Still a little wicked witchy.
Yeah.
I can if I want. More bassy. I can if I want. Take a breath. Fill up my hand first.
I can if I want.
My neighbor is nice.
My neighbor is nice.
I can if I want. My neighbor is nice.
I can if I want. My neighbor is nice.
My neighbor is nice.
My neighbor is nice.
My neighbor is nice.
My neighbor is.
Are you not old enough for Yogi Bear? Who knows Yogi? Who's met Yogi Bear and Boo Boo? Nobody? You're all too young. Okay, Yogi. Yogi talks like this, right? So give me a little impression of Yogi and say, Roger says I need a little bit more Yogi in my voice.
Roger says I need a little bit more Yogi in my voice.
Now split the difference. Roger says I just need a little bit of Yogi.
Roger says I just need a little bit of
bit
Yogi.
more.
Roger says I just need a little bit of Yogi.
So if I had just a little bit of Yogi in my voice,
So if I just had a little bit of Yogi in my voice,
the way that I'm making sound right now,
the way that I'm making sound right now,
it sounds better, more bassy, more full,
sounds more bassy and more full.
not nasal, not squeaky hinge.
Not nasal nor squeaky hinge.
Now you can applaud for her.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Are we out of time or not? Okay. Come on, this is fun. Give me somebody else that wants to work. All right, now you have all overcome your fear. Perhaps. Okay?
So I'm a Brit.
You're a Brit. Come over here. I'm half British too. My mother was from London.
Splendid. Trying to make it in America, so I need to adapt the voice.
So what do you think about your voice?
I think it's a bit too soft and gentle sometimes. Not emphatic enough. Give me $100 million. Give me $100 million.
Right. Okay, so here's the thing. You know how they used to say the British speak with a stiff upper lip?
Yeah.
It's because they're trying to speak as much as possible without moving their mouth that much. That's where they got that expression. You speak with a stiff upper lip. You don't move your mouth that much. That's one thing. Also, you keep the same volume all the way through. So then I don't know what's really important to you, because I'd say, I love my wife, I hate my wife, I love chocolate, I don't like chocolate at all, I'm allergic to chocolate, I'm going into shock right now, please take me to the doctor. Because it's all the same volume. So what happens is you end up making nice words, but you're creating one emotion the whole time. The emotion you're creating is, I'm a nice guy, I'm no threat to you, I'm not going to steal your money, I'm not going to squander it, but you really don't know what I'm super passionate about, because I'm sort of keeping all of my emotions inside my own mind. So then,
Yeah, but that's not just voice. That's just being a Brit, right?
awesome. So then here's what happens. I'm not in the business of changing people's personalities. I'm in the business of giving them other sounds that can showcase things that are important for them to achieve the life goals that they want. So Roger says that sometimes I should be soft, but sometimes I should be loud.
Roger says that sometimes I should be soft, but sometimes I should be loud.
And it's okay for me to have more melody.
And it's okay for me to have more melody.
Because melody is the first thing that people feel emotional about.
Because melody is the first thing that people feel emotional about.
And when I just started to use more melody,
And when I just started to use more melody,
people felt like I was more authentic and more interesting.
people felt like I was more authentic and more interesting.
So when I say I really like chocolate, but I'm not that crazy about vanilla.
So when I say that I really like chocolate, but I'm not that crazy about vanilla.
You had two different feelings. You thought, oh, yes, I agree with him. Clearly, he is against vanilla, but he loves chocolate, and the melody alone made him do that. you also have to drop your jaw to let more sound come out.
Sure, I need to drop my jaw.
So not only do I need more melody,
So not only do I need more melody,
so that's one white one to one black one. Now, the keyboard has 88 keys on it. A Bosendorfer has 90 keys on it because one German composer said, how could I possibly be confined by 88? Let's build a piano that has 90 keys. I may never touch that one, but I might. I need to have more melody and drop my jaw.
I need to have more melody and drop my jaw.
And even though I sort of feel a little bit silly,
And even though I sort of feel a little bit silly,
sort of feel a little bit monotone, even though I sort of feel a little bit silly,
even though I sort of feel a little bit silly,
it doesn't sound silly to them. Yes or no? You think
Yes, it
that's
does.
ridiculous. I'm suddenly a circus barker.
I think that's ridiculous. I'm suddenly a circus barker.
I love it when I teach somebody melody and they think it's tied to their... that the high notes are suddenly on the ceiling and the low notes must be painted on the floor.
My jaw is stationary. My head is moving up.
Yes, right. So you'll learn that you can drop your jaw and you don't have to go down with your whole head, and you can drop your jaw and you don't have to go up with your forehead. Does he sound better with a little bit more melody? And melody is just one. I'm all about pitch, how high or low you speak, pace, how fast or slow you speak, tone, is it airy or is it edgy, melody and volume. And I combine all of those 5 elements into realizing what is being perceived emotionally. I am incredibly excited because I'm entering into the AI space because I have the missing link to having AI suddenly be able to process what emotion the person is actually exhibiting and then make an appropriate emotional response back. And nobody else has it yet. But I figure, why not at least do it with humans in the process and not only AI, because I don't want the AI to be more human than we are. Way to go.
Thanks. Great.
Awesome, man. All right, now you're feeling bold. Come on. Okay, come on up.
Hi, how are you?
Wonderful. How are you?
Good, thanks. So my name is Daniel. I'm from Colombia, and I learn.
Use the mic up here.
My name is Daniel. I'm from Colombia. I learn English back home, and then I moved to Australia. So it's a big mix when I'm talking in English. Some English words are in Australian accent, other ones in American accent, and new ones that I just learned here.
So one of the things, Daniel?
Yeah.
So one of the things Daniel does is he connects all the words together and he pays no attention to where one word starts and one word ends. So he's not making the most out of consonants at the end of one word and then rolling it into other words. But words have consonants and vowels, and you actually have to sort of finish one word before you move on to the next word. You're speaking too fast and not making enough out of the consonants. Roger says, also, if everything's the same note and you speak really, really fast, then all of a sudden it's really hard to understand what he's saying because every word is of equal value. And every word doesn't mean the same thing. Murder, love, hate, whatever you want to say, it's not all equal. All words are not equal. But you're making all words equal because there's no melody, there's no volume change, and there's no consonants ending the words. If I do that, using melody, and holding out some of the words, because Daniel had every single word the same duration. All the words were short. And he was wondering if all the words were short, maybe I could just get through the sentence and I'd be finished. But we don't want to do that. Some words have to be a little longer, some words short. I love each and every one of you here. I'm so happy to be here. I am so happy to be here.
I am so happy to be here.
No matter what accent I might have,
No matter what accent
no matter what accent I might have,
I may have,
if I hold some of the vowels
if I hold some of the vowels
and then bring some notes to other pitches,
and bring some notes to other pitches,
suddenly you're able to understand me a lot better.
suddenly you're able to understand me a little bit better.
And the accent didn't get in the way. I love accents. People come to me all the time, they're like, get rid of my accent. I'm like, oh, so you're not proud of where you're from? You're not proud of your family? You want to pretend you're from someplace else? No. What is it about accents that's bothering you? Well, when I speak, people don't understand me. Okay, so let's fix that. And let's retain all the beauty and wonder and interest and adventure that lives in your accent. And when it really comes down to it, it's less things need to be changed than people think. Less things. Some people speak like, instead of a TH, they say this and that, and we're going to do this and that, this and that. And I change an Indian accent because a TH in Indian is more this, that. So I take an Indian person, like, get rid of my accent. I'm like, no, let's just change the TH. And they say this and that, and then they retain all of the beautiful melodies that they have. But they also don't make it so that when someone speaks with an accent and you hear a word that you don't understand, it sends your brain from the emotion part of your brain to the logic part of your brain that says, what word did he just say? Because I don't say garage. I say garage. Way to go.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Well, look, you lived through singing, and you didn't think so. You were a wonderful, wonderful group. A couple of minutes, do you have any questions for me? Do you have a question? Something that came up?
So who have you enjoyed working with the most? Or, I mean, that's a hard question.
You think it would? I have enjoyed working with some celebs who are really hard workers, like Bradley Cooper was super fun to work with. He was living in Pacific Palisades. He would drive to Burbank to his trainer every morning and work out, and then he would show up to my office in Hollywood at 7 a.m. in the morning, 5 days a week for 6 months, never was late one time, and practiced not only with me for an hour, but then would practice for another hour later on in the day. That's dedication. Sometimes when I work on a project, I have a long time, 6 months. Sometimes I have only a little bit of time. I was brought in to do Walk the Line, which was the first movie I did that actually won an Academy Award for the lead, Reese. And I had literally about 21 days to do all of the learning to sing and working up all of the songs for that film. 21 days. That was hard. But everyone is unique. The bottom line is that don't think that because people are celebrities that they suddenly were born with better voices for singing or anything. Every single celebrity I've ever worked with is an introvert. And they become actors and presenters because they find another part of their personality, and other sounds that showcase when they need to be extroverts, they're extroverts. Question? Okay. You practice using vocal exercises, and I came with a present for you so that you'll be able to practice, okay? And you'll be able to learn more. I have my event, I do one live event in Los Angeles called Voice of Success Live, and it's coming up May 29th, 3 days, 2.5 days. And because I want it to be a gift, and because it's not that expensive to come spend 3 days with me, I literally took $800 off of the price so that you are paying almost nothing to come spend 3 days with me to learn the exercises, to learn what you now don't understand about the rest of the building blocks: pitch, pace, tone, volume, all of that. And all you have to do is text and use the keyword insider to this number that's on the screen, $800. Literally, I'm buying you the whole tuition for that. But I would love for you to come to be with me in Los Angeles. And it's really, really an amazing 3 days with a lot of tremendous transformations. But literally what I teach people to do is in the morning when you're in the shower or driving your way to work, you can do stuff like this. You're going to turn on the keyboard that's in your shower. No, you're going to just do it. You don't even need a keyboard. Or you'll be able to bring your phone in because it's waterproof, or you'll just know the exercise and you'll go. But this is easier on the way to work. You'll be doing stuff like this. Go, 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 go. Do that with me. Goog. Go, 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 go. Go, 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 go. You're not very loud for a bunch of people. Go, 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 go. I have exercises like that you'll do for about 10 minutes. On the way to work, your voice will be high and low and strong and loud, and you'll have control over the breathing, and you'll be doing the right breathing exercises as you do it. And 10 minutes a day will be enough that you'll be able to speak all day and night. Even when you're dreaming, you're still using your vocal cords. So if you're lucky enough in your dreams and you say, oh, baby, your vocal cords are actually being used. So warm up your vocal cords by doing that kind of thing. One more question.
How you were talking about how you have studied different emotions and then different sounds that make the emotions. How do you convey confidence? Because a lot of people here might be entrepreneurs or just maybe are feeling introverted. How do you convey confidence?
I love it. Confidence, you have to have a certain amount of volume to showcase confidence. And you have to be a lot of the time in the bottom part of your range, which is called chest voice. So if you're spending all the time up here in head voice, it immediately doesn't sound strong enough to be confidence. So we assume a certain amount of volume is confidence. Also, confidence is a particular pattern of melody that has melody at the beginning of the sentence, and then it goes to the same note. So I front load the melody, and then it goes to one note. So it sounds like I'm full of passion, and then same note, constant. So that I'm not leading people all the time to questions, because questions don't make people think confidence. So it's melody at the beginning of the sentence, a certain amount of volume, leading to no melody at the end of sentences. And also confidence is a little bit slower, because pace, how fast you speak, makes you sound nervous, like you're not confident. So people are speaking really fast. Yes, I said it was a really, really good idea. And didn't you bring your checkbook? And all of a sudden, they're talking fast, thinking they want to get all the words in because they think they're getting paid by the word. So it's the right pace, a little slower. It's a little louder in chest voice. And it's front-loading melody, and then the ends of the sentences, more the same note. That's the sounds of confidence. Look, you have been a wonderful, wonderful group of friends, new friends. Thank you so much for spending the last 45 minutes or so with me, even though I have no clock up here. And I look forward to hopefully seeing more of you in Los Angeles, May 29th. I'll be hanging around a little bit and just come up and say hi. And we'll elbow pump. I've never done this. I've never seen this much elbow pumping since I was a kid and watching roller derby. I sort of feel I'm in roller derby, even though you're not old enough to understand what roller derby is. Thank you so much for being such a beautiful group. Best wishes to all your projects. All your projects reach fruition.